are planting mangroves.
Changing weather patterns across the globe continue to make headlines and drawing immense conversations as shocks brought about by climate change remain a matter of grave concern for many countries. Cognizant of the fact that God created the universe with utmost perfection according to the book of Genesis, the past few years has, however, seen environmental degradation mainly attributed to human activities that continue leaving behind a trail of unprecedented destruction. High appetite for mangrove trees, for example, the amount of abandoned and discarded fishing gears among other marine debris found in the ocean has led to serious ecological impacts such as entanglement, ingestion, and chemical contamination threats to marine life. At least 70% of local communities living adjacent to Kenya's mangrove forest rely on solid biomass energy, mainly firewood and charcoal, as the primary source of fuel for cooking. This over-reliance on the traditional cooking methods and solid fuels has also had a great impediment and enormous burden on mangrove forest restoration. However, all is not lost. In a bid to reduce the pressure on mangrove as well as carbon emissions, a group of youth and women in Mikindani in Jomvu constituency at Kenya's coastal city of Mombasa, through empowerment efforts, have now taken upon themselves to hold monthly mangrove planting initiatives in a bid to try and restore what is considered to being the only natural forest in the city.
We are doing community beach cleanups and mangrove restoration after every 2 weeks. But for the beach cleanups, all we do is we are currently just picking the solid waste which are being thrown to the creek, which make their way to the main creek or the ocean here.
The tedious drive, often spearheaded by Jomvu-based Majestic Charitable Trust Foundation, often ensures that mangrove saplings are distributed during their countless plantation drives in the erosion-prone areas throughout the year, creating a bioshield and protecting several sites from ever-increasing climate disasters.
We are planting mangroves. We have trained our youth on how to cultivate mangroves.
We can say that there is a coastal protection. By coastal protection, what do we mean? We are protecting our area here and the fish ponds against high tides, because when the tides are high from the creek level, you'll find that the waves are being subsidized as they come inwards. So by the time they reach our ponds, the waves are a little bit more downshifted. So you'll find that it's not easy for our ponds to break and end up for us losing our fish which are soaked, and maybe us going through losses as a result of that.
The saplings come from nurseries the community members themselves maintain. According to the foundation's chief executive, Mr. Stephen Musyoka, biodiversity-rich, rehabilitated riverine landscapes of mangroves is critical, often acting as a vital carbon sink, absorbing carbon emissions, safeguarding shorelines, raising the pH of the surrounding water, and oxygenating the waters to minimize the impacts of ocean acidification and hypoxia on a localized scale. Mangroves also provide conducive breeding sites for fish and other sea creatures.
There are a lot of animals that use the mangrove ecosystem as their habitat. We have different fish types. Maybe they have the shellfish, you have the prawns, the lobsters, and some other types of fish, also marine tilapia we have here, the milkfish, which most of them use this area as a spawning habitat. By spawning habitat, what do we mean? I mean they use this place as a place they come as a hatchery. They come and lay their eggs. With time, the fish hatch, and the seedlings or the fingerlings go back to the water and continue with the generation. All this is in regards to the blue economy, whereby we are engaging in biodiversity conservation. The mangrove ecosystem also help in carbon sequestration. Carbon sequestration, that is in regards to climate change, where you get that most of the pollutants come from the air and they are filtered through the leaves. And we know that mangroves usually is a 10 times more carbon sequestrator. If you compare maybe to a mango tree and a mangrove picks up almost 10 times the carbon that will be picked up by a normal mango tree. So you get that when the pollutants are picked up from the environment, they are stored in the biomass, which is also called a blue sink for the carbon sequestration. In regards to climate mitigation or the climate change, you'll find that if we are planting more trees or more mangroves per acreage, there is more carbon that is being sourced from the climate, and also that is helping in terms of a lot of heat which we are getting from the environment, and we also have the acid rain which is released to the atmosphere. The other thing we can say that it also helps in the soil erosion controlling through the roots, which compacts the soil together and helps to keep the soil intact, which we will find there's no more silt coming to the hinterland, or no silt is being taken back to the ocean, and which the fish end up picking and not getting quality fish.
Moreover, other than mangrove conservation, Musyoki through the foundation has embarked on a community-driven fish production initiative.
The reason why we came with the fish farming projects, it's because we realized that in Mombasa, or coast at large, we have idle creeks that can be used to cultivate fish or to farm fish, and the fish be used by the communities in Mombasa, in those slum areas, as food. You realize that right now, majority of the fish that we eat are from Lake Victoria. Fish from the sea, it's very expensive because I think due to climate change, majority of the species have either reduced or they have migrated to maybe other places where food is abundant. But we find that our coastal our coastal waters do not have enough fish to be able to feed our population. And whatever fish is caught, when it comes to the market, it's very expensive to buy. So we find that we came up with these fish projects, first, to provide employment for our youth. Secondly, to provide cheap alternative of protein to our community that we live in. So apart from fish, we have prawns. And we know that a kilo of prawns, the cheapest is around 1,500. So our way of approach is also to provide cheaper prawns and cheaper crabs and prawns, cheaper crabs and lobster to the community, so that they be able to get food on their table.
Several fish ponds have been constructed along the shores of the ocean within Mikindani village as the community embraces the new initiative on aquaculture.
When we are doing this, you'll find that we are controlling overfishing, which maybe if there is overfishing in the creeks, we are trying to conserve the fish here and be able to sell to the community and still conserve through our hatchery, which we are proposing to build in the near future.
The site manager, Jimmy Theory, terms the initiative as a game changer for the community. Through transformative engagements, the locals whose economy he says is partly derived from the nearby ocean for livelihood will go away too far to addressing food security.
There will be an improved community welfare. Why am I saying that? It's because the community around here will see which project is more sustainable to them. If regards, we can say we will build stalls where the fish will be sold. So when they sell that, you'll find that there will be more profit coming to them, and they'll be able maybe to send their kids to school, sustain themselves with their families, and be able to do other things in their community.
As the sun sets in the horizon, there is hope of Mombasa's natural habitat being restored and protected through enhancing the capacity of the community to always embrace diversity, prepare for as well as respond swiftly to emerging trends, especially those that evolved around climate change.